Hey guys, I'm going to try something new today. As you can see right here, this is my bag of Satanite powder. This is what I used to coat the inside of the forge a while ago. And I've just had a bunch of this stuff left over. So what I did, I mixed it into kind of a paste. Not a paste, more just a sort of thick liquid consistency. And I have applied it to this blade that I forged the other day. You can see it's got, I started out by putting some little lines of it down toward the cutting edge. I put a thin layer over the whole thing, and then I thickened it up to cover the spine and part of the tang. Now the point of this is, I'm gonna heat treat this blade now. I'm gonna heat it up past critical, just past critical, and then quench it. What that normally does is that hardens the entire blade, and then I go through a tempering cycle. But the way this is going to work, in theory, is that I get the whole blade hot, then I quench it. The exposed metal does get hard. The metal that's got this clay on it is supposed to be insulated, and it won't cool quickly enough for the upper part of the blade, for the spine and the body of the blade to get hard. So the spine and the body and the tang should stay relatively soft, kind of a spring steel temper, while the cutting edge is hard. So I'll end up with a differential hardening of this blade. I'll have a hard cutting edge, springy, softer spine. And we're going to see how that works out. What I've got in here right now is not the knife. This is a piece of scrap steel that I've heated up because I need to heat up my quench oil before I quench the blade in it. Now the reason you heat up the quench oil is actually to make it less viscous, so it contacts more, the entire blade all at the same time. I want to make sure that any residual heat in the spine doesn't bleed back into the cutting edge and ruin the temper. I didn't hear any pops or kinks or crackles, so I think the blade is intact. Now the trick is to get this clay off of here. I want to be pretty gentle. I don't want to chip the blade or anything. Just going to kind of loosen it a little bit. And it all seemed to stay. It all seemed to stay on the blade. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this off and show you the results here in a minute. Okay, I got most of the clay knocked off, and I can already see, I don't know if they're coming out on camera, but I can already see some wavy lines along here. Just going to clean residue off. Okay, that looks pretty cool actually. One last thing I'm going to do, even though in theory the spine of this blade is supposed to be soft, the edge is full hard, like really actually still a little bit too brittle. So I'm going to pop this in the oven at 350 for an hour just to draw back the temper of the cutting edge just a little bit so it doesn't chip every time I try to whittle something with it. Then I'm going to clean up the blade and we'll get a chance to see what this pattern looks like. But that looks, I think it's going to turn out nice. I'm going to take this out of here and let it air cool for a little bit. And I'm going to take some fine sandpaper and sand off all this baked on oily residue. I'm going to start at 220 and clean some of the baked on oily crap off of this blade, and then I'm going to move up to 400 grit. To the camera, it probably looks like I have scrubbed off all that coloration, but to the naked eye, and I don't know if it picks it up, I can still see a little bit of that pattern in the blade. This is after 220. I'm going to do 400 grit next. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but you can't forget to do the spine as well. Okay, there it is after 400 grit. And the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to force a little oxidation on this blade with vinegar. I'm pretty sure that professionals do this with something a little more professional than vinegar, but that's what I use. And I'm going to put the blade in here for about 20 minutes and then check it. So here it goes. Alright, it's been about 20 minutes. We'll see what we have here. Let's rinse it off a little bit. I'm not seeing much pop out right now. But, oh wait, there's some. Right along through there, I can see some differing degrees of oxidation. It may be that the vinegar is such a weak solution it has to be in there longer. But anyway, I can, as is the case with these things, sometimes the camera doesn't pick up what the eye can. But I can tell you, I see a difference already. So I'm going to let it soak some more. But basically, that's the process for my first attempt at clay coating a blade and then heat treating it. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys.